Hey, Ram Fam. Good morning. I'm Sabrina Torres, Student Activities Manager for the Multicultural and Student Activities Center. Welcome back to Virtual El Cafecito. Today, Aaron and I will be interviewing Dr. Jordan Daniel, Associate Professor from the Kinesiology Department. Thank you for joining us today.
Hey, no problem. It's my pleasure.
Alrighty, let's go ahead and get started. So your first question is, where are some unusual places that you have been?
Unusual places that I've been. So I'm married and I have 3 daughters. And one of the things that we really wanted to do when they were growing up is that we wanted to visit all 50 states. And so a map in our house that's like the lottery material, so you can scratch it off. And so what we do is that we travel to different states, go to national parks, state parks, and we like to go, we have a rule that if we go to eat somewhere, that we have to go eat at like hole-in-the-wall places. And so unusual places I've been is like all the hole-in-the-wall places in the American Southwest. The coolest place I've ever eaten was, it looked like a Dairy Queen that was built in probably the late 40s.
That's really cool.
It was in Arizona, and it was so cool because and the people there wore like the white uniform with the paper, like, it felt like I was like jumping back in time, and this was awesome.
Yeah, that's really neat. That's really, really cool. What inanimate object would be the most annoying if it played loud and upbeat music while being used?
Oh, well, for me, that would be like a marker when I'm writing on the board and talking. Like trying to like give notes and you're writing on the board. I don't know if you've ever used like a speech jammer app on your phone, and it's hard to match those up because you kind of like it kind of.
Oh my goodness, yes. It's funny to use the app. It's just like, wait, you're trying to hear yourself, but you're just like, it's not all the way going. Just like, what the heck?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
If you could be on top of a tier as a professional athlete for any sport, what would you play and why?
Oh, okay. So this is a tiered answer for me. So I played college football, so I love football. But the longevity of having like an NFL career is pretty short. Especially, I was an offensive lineman in college. Offensive linemen ballpark it between 2 and 4 years. And so, let's say you have a decent salary, $2.5 million per year. Your money is there. If I could choose the sport, it would be golf, and not because I'm like, ooh, I'm a golf fanatic. It's just you can play that until you play that for so long. You've got guys playing in their late 60s and 70s, and they're still making tons of money. So your ability to make money, and then like, okay, now practice, now go golf. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be, yes. I feel like you said, like the money wise, you'll be kind of like set in a way to have everything that you need.
Yeah, and just like football takes a big toll on your body. Like one of the things I'm worried about is that because you can't prove anybody has CTE until you do an autopsy. I'm like, oh, am I going, like every time that I forget where I put my keys, I'm worried about, oh no, is that because of the concussions I had in college?
Yeah. Oh no.
Yeah.
Alrighty, for the next question, what is the best or worst practical joke that you've ever played on someone or that you played on someone?
Okay. This is, I don't know how much time we have for this, but this is a story. It was in high school. So my youth minister in high school was a bit of a prankster. And so his family owned, this is up in North Texas, up by like Lake Bowie and Wichita Falls. So his family owned a cabin on Lake Bowie. And so we were like the senior guys were going to go like hang out at the cabin for the weekend because it was in the summer. And then like halfway through switch because his wife had all the senior girls. Well, before the switch happened, because the girls went out there first, it happened on a Thursday. The county jail had a prison escape.
Oh my gosh.
And so there were like 6 like convicts that were just loose. Now the police caught them like within a few hours, but they didn't let that be known because they were still canvassing. It was the weekend. And remember, this is back in the early 2000s. So like we don't have like news on our phones. It was like to watch news. Well, we decided that we would go down the night before and sneak up to the cabin and try to scare everybody and like. So we went and got like yellow and we proceeded to scare them for like it was like, oh, this is how people get like really scared and don't ever want to do anything with you anymore because they're traumatized. So we one of the things, the way it worked is that there was my hometown where I was at that time, Archer City, above Wichita Falls, it had a big storm come through and it knocked down the power lines and the phone lines. And so when the people, like the girls, were calling the youth minister's house to figure out like, hey, is it y'all? Like they were calling on a landline. And when those landlines get like that it just goes to a busy signal. People on the phone. And so they thought like, oh, they're there. But then we were actually there. And so it was kind of like we had an alibi. And yeah, we scared them for about 4 or 5 hours, like just like knocking on the door, like leaving things rearranged on the porch. And they were pretty freaked. They were not very happy.
That's awesome. I like to do like practical jokes like that on my family, like scaring them every now and then. So definitely it's fun for you because you're just like, huh, it's funny, but then you're just like, you traumatize them in a different way. They're just like, oh my gosh, no, don't do that, you know. But yes, I love scaring people. It's fun.
That relationship on my
What would you consider an ASU or a San Angelo best hidden gem?
Oh gosh. Well, like in the summer, like the Pops concert is amazing. For ASU, I think that the ASU tailgates are pretty fun.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So for my freshman orientation class, I actually make it a part of the class that we do a tailgate for points in the class.
Oh, that's awesome. I think it's very important for students to experience it at least once to see if they like it or not. And I think the atmosphere is always good with other people,
Yeah.
you know.
And, the worst thing that freshmen can do is come to campus and then stay in their dorm, like go to classes and then stay in their room. That's belief that the dorm should be like, okay, yeah, hanging out on the weekends and like doing fun stuff. But like, other than sleeping, you need to be like, there is so much happening on campus. Like, you should be so tired at the end of the day that you could just in your bed.
Right.
That's really cool. I mean, I know with my freshman orientation class, we were kind of like something like that, but it's really cool how you incorporated it into the class to kind of like ease them into it without making it seem like, oh, I have to go to this thing. But
yeah,
what food is delicious but a pain to eat?
Oh gosh, delicious to eat but a pain to make. I would say like homemade cookies.
Really?
Homemade chocolate chip cookies, because if you get really good at making them, you can make them great consistency all the time, but a little too much baking soda and they get like that fluffy, like
they just get the raw. It's just like too much. Yeah.
And so, but they're delicious to eat. But like if you mess up just a little bit, and they'd be like, "Oh, you have some chocolate chip sponges over here."
All right. This next one is a 30-second challenge. Should you bite or lick ice cream, and why?
Oh, you should definitely lick ice cream. If you bite ice cream, I don't know that I can trust you as a person. Like, you like, are you talking about like a bomb pop or like a blizzard?
Like, I mean, I guess that's a good question. I guess that you could jump into like different categories of ice cream. I don't know. I'll bite into an ice cream cone.
Well, that's okay. But I'm talking about like, you see somebody comes up to you with a bomb pop and they just,
oh, see,
like,
I can't do that. That's crazy.
It's like that. Those type of people Like they pour their cereal milk, then their cereal.
See, that's crazy. I do my cereal and then the milk. I don't ever do milk. My best friend actually does the milk and then the cereal. I'm like, what's wrong with you?
That's like about that. Like pettiness level of I don't know about that is like this is the like here's the rule. Like toothbrush in the water, toothpaste, water again, and then brush your teeth.
See, that's understandable.
Because there's some people that just like dry toothpaste and then they go at it. I'm like, how do you live your life?
It's crazy. What's your cure for hiccups?
I don't have a cure. It's just like most men, I just suffer through it and just curl into a fetal position and just complain to my wife. Just and they'll get so bad. I don't know if you've ever had hiccups for very long, but they get to the point where there's like a full body spasm, like the
Convulsion.
you're just like crying, but like 5 to 7 seconds between them.
That's yeah, no fun. What's the most interesting building you've ever seen or been in?
Okay, the most interesting building I ever was in was a old building in Omaha, Nebraska. That it used to be a bank, and then they converted it to like a couple of other different things. But when me and my family went on a trip to Nebraska, it was like a burger place, and it was really cool, like a 1920s vault to eat food in.
Wow, that's crazy.
It's like really cool. And they still had like the vault door and like you can rent it out. And they're like, yeah, we'll close you in. Like if you want to be like, and I was like, oh no, I'm kind of a little too nervous for that.
I could do that. Which club? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just saying it was just so interesting because on like how restaurants that are in like historic buildings, they have like the menu on one side and on the back side they have the history. And it was just like all the history and like this bank was robbed 19 times in the 30s. And I was like, oh wow, man.
Which celebrity or band has the worst fan base?
The people that, oh gosh, I don't know that I have like a specific one, but like people that are really quick to like, you don't like what I like, so I hate you and you're trash. Yeah. I'm like let people like what they like. Like my tastes are not your tastes. That doesn't mean that my tastes are bad or your tastes are bad. Just yeah. And I don't know, is there any people are really quick. I know I'm personally am not a fan of country music, but people are to just hate on it. I'm like, pump the brakes. Like they like it for a reason. Like,
yeah, I'm the same way. I'm like, I used to be like not belligerent about it, but I was kind of like, do not put country on. But it was kind of like a trade-off. Where I'm like, okay, you can listen to this if I get to listen to this kind of thing.
That's fair enough, and you don't have to like it. But I mean, at least we can respect other people's choices. Yeah. And I think a lot of that is a function of like how old you are.
Mm-hmm.
So like I remember the things that I believed in my like 18, 19, and like 20-year-old life. Like I felt them so passionately, and then now I think back and I'm like, oh, that guy was such a turd Ferguson.
You're like, why was I so wound up all the time?
Why would you act that way about something so trivial?
Yeah.
That's funny. What are you most interested in that most people aren't?
So, okay, this is another tiered answer. So long before I like was playing sports, I was my parents knew I was going to be a nerd. And so like they would wake up. My dad was a football coach. He would wake up in the mornings and like get ready for like 2-a-days there. And he would go into my room and he would say, I would find you in your closet on the floor reading at 5 a.m. That I'm a nerd, but I don't think that's a bad thing. But my nerdiness has taken over. Like I really like to consume a lot of like pop culture, but then I really like to get like I really like knowing all there is to know about Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, dude, all those things.
Heck yeah, same. Just like you want that more detailed structure. Like, come on, give me some more. Give me some more.
I was reading like I'll lay in bed at night and like have like the Hunger Games Wikipedia page open, and I'm just like, what is that? Okay, what is that? And so if there's ever like a trivia bar night and they have that as a category, I'm your guy.
Heck yeah. What is the best advice you have for first generation students?
Oh, okay. First generation students. This will reach out specifically to first generation students, but this is advice I give to anybody that's first at college, is that you will feel like an imposter. You will feel like you're like, oh no, they're gonna find out that I'm not as smart as they think I am, and they're gonna kick me out. It's called imposter syndrome, and the more competent you are at a thing, the more likely you are to feel that way. You got into college for a reason. You're here for a reason. The people that make those decisions, I know, they don't make mistakes. Like, you are here for a dang good reason. Don't try to make it harder by getting in your own head about it.
Yeah, I really like that. I really like that advice. I think students don't realize that whenever they first come, because they feel like they're just like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. You can do it. You're here for a reason, you know, and you're part of the Ram fam.
Yeah, but then the second part of that is like, if you graduate from high school in the United States of America, I firmly believe you have the intelligence necessary to get a doctorate, to get a PhD. Now, it's about more than just intelligence. It's about persistence. How hard are you willing to get knocked down and then keep getting back up? And so my advice to students is like, this is hard. College is hard, but for a reason. If it was easy, then everybody would do it. Anything attaining is going to be struggle, because there's no comfort in the growth zone and there's no growth in the comfort zone.
Yeah. Preach. What game have you spent the most hours on playing for?
Oh, okay. So this is so I have 3 kids now and a wife, and so I don't get to game as much as I used to. But right now, I like to play Call of Duty Warzone. But I didn't buy the actual game. I just did the Warzone, and so I play a lot of Plunder. But if we were going back to my college days, like back when I was just living in the dorm and playing football, it would have been like Halo.
Oh, same. Me and my brother, we go play the older ones. He's like, come on, let's play. I'm like, okay, let's go.
OG Halo.
Yeah.
Shotties and pistols on like, yeah.
Oh yeah. All right, so we have another 30-second challenge. So what is the biggest kitchen fail that you ever done?
Okay, you might need to extend this, but the biggest kitchen fail was one that I'll say, like, not the like cooking mistake, but like I made a mistake in the kitchen. So my wife is a great cook, and she made a cake, and I was home one day, and like I ate a piece of cake, and then she called me to let me. She's like, "Hey, just make sure you don't eat any of it, because we're gonna have it for like dessert tonight." And I was like, "Okay." I just owned up to it that I did have a piece. So I was so nervous, and we had been married for less than a year. So what I had to do is that I went and I got the identical like cake batter mix from HEB, came home, remade the cake, but then I had a whole cake with a piece missing, and then a whole cake. And so I had to get rid of the evidence and eat an entire cake before my wife got home, because I was going to be mad at me. And so I did it, and then and so I'm just like, ugh, I was over. And
Oh my goodness.
We have supper, and she's like, "Do you want a slice of cake?" And I'm just like, I had to eat the piece of cake, because if I didn't, she would know that something was wrong. And so essentially, I had a whole cake and a slice so that I could mask the fact that I had eaten one piece of cake.
That is crazy. I mean, oh my goodness, that is crazy. But it's like, you know, you're doing it for your wife, right? You're like, you know, I didn't eat this piece of cake, but in a way I did. Just one more slice.
You know, selfishly though, it was like I didn't want to upset her. Like I didn't want to Like that, I should have been more mature. And I'm like, oh, man, baby, I'm so sorry. I already ate a slice. You know what she probably would have done? She was like, you big dork, don't do that. And I've been, oh, okay. But like I punished myself, and it was like a cheesecake, like with like a strawberry frosting. I was out of commission.
What movie would you greatly improved if it was made into a musical?
Die Hard.
Ooh, that's a classic there. Yeah.
Like think situations it could have been.
Right?
Yeah.
If you had the power to shrink any one object and carry it with you in your pocket, which item would it be?
Oh. Shrink. Do I have the ability to like pull it out of my pocket and make it normal size?
Yeah, yes, I would say so.
Shrink it, carry it around. Okay. This is not going to resonate with a whole lot of college students, but diaper bag. Like things like to carry around stuff, because like when we go on vacation, like we went to last year we drove the American Southwest, and so we went on old Route 66, and then when we went up to the Grand Canyon, like I had my backpack, and we put every single 5 gallons of well, not 5 gallons, but 5 bottles of water, the diapers for the baby, snacks for the big girls, sunscreen, all these different things. How awesome would it have been like if because it's really hot in the summer, and like my back was essentially just like dripping wet from having to wear the backpack. And you just like shrink it down, just like put that in a little pocket. They're like, all right, boom, got it.
But yeah, that'd be amazing, because thinking about it, like, oh, I'm gonna pack this suitcase and let's go on vacation. You don't have to pay for a luggage fee at the airport. So something like that.
Yeah. So 3 years ago, we flew to Nebraska, and like we checked 2 bags, and it was like $35-$40 for each bag. Think about like just $80 back in your pocket just for. Whoop.
Let's go. What advice do you have? And this is kind of playing off the last one. What advice do you have for new students coming to campus, whether it's freshmen or transfer students, I guess?
Find something to get involved in. Find what's your passion, and go find it. If you have an interest, there is a group of people on campus that also share that interest. And you just got to ask around. Like there's other people in classes that like what you like. There are other people on campus that like what you like. Ask faculty, ask staff, find somebody, and just start asking questions, because the worst thing you could do is just not ask. Like you can never know the answer if you never ask.
That's really good advice. What's the most ridiculous fact you know?
Like general fact, or like just like you're like, hey, get weird with it.
I mean, you could get weird, you could get general. I mean,
let me try to think.
For me, it was. Oh, go ahead.
No. I want to hear it.
For me, it was, I didn't know. Okay, so on your on your steering wheel, the dashboard behind with all the meters and stuff. If you look at where and it's so stupid. Like once you know it, it's like useless after that. The little gas symbol has an arrow next to it, and it shows which side your gas tank is on when you're going to fuel. And it's just something so dumb. I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Okay. I know the amount, so this comes with the story, but I know the exact amount of time that my family can sleep in an unconditioned house in late summer without killing each other.
Oh my gosh.
Because last summer, our AC went out the week right before school started.
Oh no.
We were 4.5 days in of having, like I borrowed like 5 different fans from friends and family, and we were all sleeping in one room, and it was just like a whirlwind, because it got up to like, it would get up to like 92 in the house. And like, think about like trying to sleep like that. I was just like, oh, no, thank you. So I remember that we got to that day, the first day of school, and my wife texted me while I was teaching class, and she says, she did a find my, like, hey, here I am on the map. And she goes, this is where we are. You can come to us. And so I followed it, and it was to a hotel. She's like, I can't deal with sleeping in that hot house anymore. We're sleeping in a hotel tonight. And so we got in, and we cranked it down as much as the AC would let us. So.
And it's crazy though, like something like that you would take for granted, because like when it breaks, you just don't realize how much you rely on the AC, and you're like, oh my God, I'm going to bake in here.
Yeah. I couldn't survive at any other like point in time.
Yeah.
80 years. I'm like, how are you going to survive in Texas? And that's an easy answer for me. And I wouldn't.
In one sentence, how would you sum up the internet?
A series of tubes that lead to pictures of cats.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. Another 30-second challenge. In 30 seconds or less, if you had to give up one thing that you do every day, what would it be?
Oh, okay. I have a nervous thing that I do every night that I'll check that my garage, it starts like this. I get up from my house, my bed. I will go check the alarm, make sure that it's on, turn the alarm off, make sure that the garage door is shut, make sure my car that's in the driveway is locked, turn the alarm back on, go check front and back doors, walk through my house, check on my girls, like make sure that they're asleep, and then go back to bed. And I'll probably do that another time at night, just to make sure. Like I'm just nervous about things getting left open. Like I would like, I would be able to get much more rest if I just like, hey, just check it once and you'll be fine.
See, I will agree, because I'm the same way, and it's just because I'll kind of go off on a little bit of a story. Is awful. So back in my hometown, this was maybe 4 or 5 years ago, there was a shooting downtown at a bar, and the guy got away, and he was still at large at the time. And my parents were out of town. I think it was on either my junior or senior year of high school, and they didn't know where he was. They're like, oh, set the alarm, whatever. If something happens, it'll call the cops. Grab a gun if you need to. They were hunters and stuff, so I had like a little handgun. I kept it with me. I kept the dog in my room, and I locked my bedroom door. And it was around, I want to say 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. And it's that weird robotic voice. It's like front window broken or something like that. And it doesn't. The loud siren starts going off. I grab the gun, and I'm there like shaking against the door. I'm like, someone's gonna kill me. Like, what are the chances that he came to my house? So like, and it turns out that it's West Texas. The wind's always blowing. The wind had blown the screen with so much pressure that it like the security system registered like the window breaking. So I'm there just like, oh my God, I'm gonna die. Whew. So like now when I go to bed and stuff, I like check the door, the windows and stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I definitely understand that. It's like here at the house and have like my cat or whatever, and it's just like right before I go to bed, I always make sure like the locks are locked and the back door is locked. And if you just like wait that little bit, maybe something I shouldn't do, like you said, get some more sleep, but then you wake up and you're like, go check it again. Say if you get up to go to the restroom or something, and it's just like, okay, let me go check it one more time before I go back to sleep.
Oh yeah. So you say you have a cat, Aaron, cat or a dog person?
I'm a dog person. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm both, but I just have the cat.
So what do you think about the separation of cat people and dog people? You think that's is it accurate enough?
I'm not sure. I don't know. Cause like, I'm not exclusively a dog person, I would say. Cause like, I like cats, but like, I don't think I could have a cat as a pet.
Yeah, I want to say like most of my family, like all of them have dogs, none of them have cats. And my aunts are sometimes just like, nope, can never have a cat. They're scary, they're weird, they stay at the edge of your bed. So I know how some of my aunts and uncles are with cats, but most of my family already has dogs.
Yeah, I think if cats had opposable thumbs, they'd kill us all.
Oh yeah.
Yep, I'm gonna say yes to that because sometimes she'll be at the edge of the bed and she will just be staring at me while I'm asleep, and I'm like, okay, get off the bed, you weirdo. So, how comfortable are you speaking in front of a large group of students or people?
Oh, okay. I'm very comfortable talking in front of students or in any large group. I don't have stage fright like that, and that doesn't mean that I've never had it. It's just I've become more comfortable because I teach for a job,
Hmm.
and you know, people. If you go in and you have like stage fright, it makes you less able to convey your material, and it also really keeps you from like making relationships from your not making relationships with your students because they've got to understand how much you care about them as individuals. Like them the person matters more than them the student. And so like being comfortable in front of people is just part of like what I have to be so that I can make sure people understand that I care about them. Like I measure my successes by my students' successes.
Yeah.
And it's like if they get it, they email me, they're like, I got the job. And I'm like, yes, that's a win. That's yes.
I got the W. Heck yeah. If someone asked to be your apprentice and and learn all that you know, what would you teach them?
Ooh. Well, one of the things is like, so you have to scaffold information. Um, my 2-year-old is not capable of helping me cook in the kitchen the way that my 7-year-old is. My 7-year-old can do a lot more. She helps me do the dishes. But my 2-year-old, like, I'm like, hey, can you hold this for daddy? And it's a dish rag. And she's waving it around. She's so excited part of the process. Now, and that doesn't mean that she can never be helpful, but I'm trying to make sure that she understands that helping is fun. And so I'm trying to get her to the point of where she's like conscious and competent about it enough that she can do like when she's old as the 7-year-old, she can do that stuff because if we get people and we make them hate to be around us, then we're not creating any enthusiasm or compassion, like fire for the field. So what I would teach somebody um, who was wanting to be like what I do, like a professor, I would try to teach them like, hey, how do we connect with people? How do we connect with each and every student that comes through the classroom doors? And so that's what I would be teaching them. Hey, how do we connect with every single person? And so, you know, not everybody's having a great day or even wants to talk. So sometimes when people, like in my classes, some people are going to see this and they're going to recognize it. I have a thumb scale and I'm like, where are you at today? And if they're good and they want me to talk with them and like mess with them or joke around with them, they're like, good. If they're not, they're like, I'm like, is it one of those? Because if it's one of those, we've all had one of those where we just like, look, I'm here
Yeah.
for this is the best you're going to get. I'm like, I totally understand it. Like life is tough. I'm not going to make it any tougher than it needs to be. So I'll make sure I know if you don't really want to talk today, I won't call on you too much. Or if I do, it's going to be a pretty easy answer.
That's awesome that you make those connections and you make those one-on-ones with your students. I think that's pretty cool.
Well, and it doesn't mean so all this doesn't mean that I'm really good at it or that it always happens because I know that everybody is not for everybody. And so I know that me and my personality, I'm not everybody's cup of tea. So there's going to be some students that I'm just not going to be able to reach that way. But I don't take it personally because, you know, I'm not trying to be all things for all people. I'm just trying to be me as authentic as I could be. Because I think
Yeah.
a lot of people can sense when anybody is being inauthentic, like when they're being fake. And so I just try to be like, hey, this is to my students, like, hey, this is me, this is who I am, and I'm going to try to be as consistent as I can, and because you're always going to know who I am and how I'm going to. Now that doesn't keep me from everybody is going to get the same amount of trust and respect from me. because you don't. I go ahead and I give you my respect because I think it's a reciprocal act. I think in the classroom, and I do the stereotype, slam the table and say, "You will respect me," then I think I have guaranteed that nobody will. So I try to give people enough credit to, like, hey, we're all adults in this room. I'm going to give you respect no matter what, because I want to teach you how to reciprocate that back to me.
Yeah.
So I try to model the behavior I want to see from my students. And once again, that doesn't mean that I always get it right all the time. I've had to apologize. I'm like, oh, man, I really screwed up on that one, guys. My bad. Let's move forward. Sorry.
Yeah, but that's good that you get those social cues and you understand, and the students as well, like back and forth, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. So the next question: what accomplishment are you most proud of?
Oh, I'm an Eagle Scout.
Cool.
I got my Eagle Scout in 2003, my senior year of high school, and it was pretty fun. And both playing sports and being in Boy Scouts let me really think about how I should behave and like how I should compose myself at all times. So it's a very large part of who I am today and how I think we should treat other people.
That's really cool. So we got a truth or dare question. So which one would you like to choose?
Oh, let's just do both. Just hit it truth and then I'll do a dare. Like, why not?
Okay. Who is your favorite family member?
My favorite family member?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I mean, I'm going to answer this, and this is going to be like, you didn't answer the question. So I love all of my kids, but for different, like what makes them special are different. But I would still step in front of a bullet for each one of them. I don't love them more than the other, but I love them for different things, and that's like Molly, my oldest, my 7-year-old. I love her because she's so empathetic towards others. Like someone is not having a very good day and she goes over to them. She's like, "Are you okay? Do you need a friend today?" And
Aww.
yeah, she's super empathetic. Now, why, the special thing about my middle child, Maxine, call her Maxie, is that she is the wild child. Like she's so much fun and she always has something funny to say. And me and my wife at the end of the day will look at each other and like, that one's going to be a handful when she gets in her teenage years. And then my baby, my 2.5-year-old, actually, they all have birthdays in August.
Oh, that's cool.
And I do too. So it's August 6th, August 8th, August 10th, and August 14th. And so there's a lot of birthdays. We have birthdays in August. My little one is that she is like, she's equal parts stubborn and equal parts like just pure love.
Oh.
Like she's like,
that's cool. That's sweet.
She's happy. She's like, you can just, she's at the point where I do the got your nose, and like I'll steal her nose and she'll do the like, and then just giggle. And then if she gets mad at me for having stolen her nose, she yells, "Da!" And then she points to her nose, and I have to give her nose
give her nose back.
back. We're done with this game.
That's awesome. Okay, so the dare, if you're wanting to do it, it is hum a song until the group has guessed it correctly. So Aaron, if you want to chime in, you can totally do that too.
I'm going to do a more recent song, like in the past few years, I guess.
Oh, I know it, but I do not know the song.
I don't know the name.
Is that, you don't know the name? Oh, it's the...
Who sings it? Who sings it first?
Oh gosh, I know. Black Bear something.
Oh, okay, yeah, I know what it.
It's hot girl bummer, hot girl
Is it
summer.
Hot Girl Summer or Bummer Summer? I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah, I was like, I know this song, but I don't know this. Like, I don't know who like this the actual name of it. Oh my goodness! But yes. All right. So the next question is: tell us 3 things you remember from kindergarten.
Okay, so 3 things I remember from kindergarten. I still remember that my kindergarten teacher every morning gave me a hug as like she gave everybody a hug, but she gave me a hug every time I walked into the class, and so I was afraid to go to kindergarten, but she would give me a hug, and she's like, "I'm so glad you came to school today." And then that's the first thing. The second thing is that I remember from kindergarten that I didn't believe my mom when she told me in kindergarten that I wasn't allowed to take toys to school, and so I would sneak Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in my backpack. And one day so my mom was an elementary school teacher, and I went to her elementary, and I was in timeout on the playground, and she came up. She's like, Jordan, why are you in timeout? She's like, it's like, Mom, did you know that they don't let you bring toys to school? Good. I really did, and I told you that. So that's the second thing. And the third thing is that I remember just being allowed to be weird. So I don't know if you can say like this personality, but given the energy of a kindergartner, that the teacher just allowed me to like. She's like, hey, you be you, and I'm not gonna stamp that down. And I really appreciate that, because I think there's too much of this world of you need to fit this prototype or you need to fit this mold, while we so it's like, hey, what makes you what makes you interesting, like you do that.
Yeah, I definitely, for like my niece and nephew, I make sure that there's always like funny moments. You know, it's okay to like, if you listen to a song in the store and you like it, dance around a little bit, you know, let the energy out, you know, be who they want to be.
Yeah. Yeah, like there's no room in this world to be too cool for school. So like it's just not.
Yeah.
What is your most important pet peeve?
My most important pet peeve, like as a professor or just a human?
It could be either one.
Okay, human, turn signals. Like,
Oh
use this.
my gosh.
Like, hey, just like, you know, it's a common courtesy. Use them. As a professor, I try to. So first thing that you have to understand is like, when something makes you upset, the person doing it is not doing it for the specific reason to make you upset. It's just that it's like it's your hang up about that thing. But it is pretty annoying if you, as a professor, if you've made a syllabus and a schedule and you have things lined out with all the information, and then someone says, "What are we doing today?"
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I know you didn't, you know, you're just kind of just, you know, making talk and you're curious, but it's, you know, all the faculty, we have to have syllabi, and we have to give you a schedule about what's due when. And so it's like, and I do it also, like, I also will tell my students, I'm like, hey, when I become your first resource, I become your last resource. I'm like, there's so much in this world where you got to be a little more self-sufficient. And I really try not to like hammer my students, like, feel bad about this, but I'm like, I'm trying to get you in the habit of like, not everybody is going to like, you know, in the working world, if you do that, a boss, you know, it may cost you, you know, a raise or a chance for promotion because they don't see you as like a self-starter or competent.
Yeah, it's kind of like,
go ahead.
That self-love, tough love kind of thing. It's like, I'm not doing it to like, you know, hinder you, but like just as a teaching moment.
Yeah. And definitely not tough love is like suffer the consequences. Tough love is like, hey, yeah, I think better is like teaching moment.
Yeah, definitely. If you could shop for free one time at any store, what would it be?
Ooh, am I allowed to resell these objects? Or like when you, like, can you get a little more information, like just to shop at the store, or is it like free
like I guess technically it wouldn't be shopping because you could take what you want, and I guess if you wanted to, you could resell it.
Okay. Then the thing that I'm doing, and this is just because of like the cost benefit ratio, is that like an Oakley out, like
Oh wow, yeah.
if you go get like 5 backpacks and then load them up, and those will fit 40, like 150, 100, no, 175, $300 sunglasses. And,
Mhm.
you're walking away with, $20,000 of Oakleys or Ray-Bans or stuff like that. And then watches, you're just like
Yeah.
watched up. And then as much of the clothes as you can put on, you're like, man, you can really do
Oh yeah, definitely. You'd be set.
a better way would be like to walk into like an expensive suit store, and you can just like stuff.
Yeah.
There are some suits that are pretty $7,000, $8,000 suits. I'm like,
Yeah.
sorry, I'm more off the rack at J.C. Penney's kind of guy.
Same. If you make a sandwich and cut it down the middle, do you have 2 halves or 2 sandwiches now?
You have 2 halves.
Dang.
Like, oh, okay, you're gonna make a sandwich, you're gonna cut it in half. Someone's gonna like, oh, look, 2 sandwiches. I'm gonna take one. I bet you're gonna get upset. You're like, don't steal my sandwich.
What do you like to do on a rainy day?
Nap.
Oh yeah.
Like have the window, like if it's a cool rainy day, have like the window cracked
Mhm.
where like the cold air is blowing in and you can hear the rain pitter patter. And man, it just gets some good napping that way.
Amazing. Do you believe in ghosts? And would you ever go ghost hunting?
I do not believe in ghosts, but yeah, I would go ghost hunting because I think that there's always a phenomena to explain the thing.
Mhm.
I think that ghost or magic, like in time immemorial, is a way for us to reconcile and understand physical phenomena that we don't understand. And so, if you look at the Northern Lights, in Norse mythology, they're like, oh, those are it's where the gods live or something
Yeah.
like that. They're like, well, that's actually not. Now we have a scientific
Uh-huh.
explanation for that. So I think there's always like a scientific explanation for it.
I really like that outlook. That's cool.
Yeah, definitely. It's a different perspective for sure.
Well, I mean, anything that complex enough for us not to understand, we call miracles or like supernatural.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Think about like what a caveman would have thought about a meteor flying across the sky. You're like, oh, that's the sun god running after the moon god, and you're
Yeah.
like what?
Yeah. Yeah.
We know that is a piece of like rock coming through the atmosphere and burning up.
Yeah. All right. So we got the last 5 questions. What is the most frustrating product that you own?
That's frustrating. My house. Like once you buy a house, it's like, oh no, like something else is wrong or something happens, and like you never feel like I would like to go for a full calendar year and nothing is like having to call home warranty companies and getting
Oh yeah.
there's like, and so that's the frustrating thing. But it is really nice to be like, this is my house. Like I live here, and like I say, if I want to paint the wall a certain color, I will paint it. That
Yeah.
that freedom.
What's the funniest thing have you seen a kid do?
Well, so it's just like so since the COVID lockdown, so it's been 3 months, and so my wife works until about 2 p.m. every day, and so I am home with my daughters for that time, grading and everything, and so it's just something new every day that my kids do. Like they'll do something, you're like, why would you? Um, my baby, she likes to take the peanut butter and jelly sandwiches I'll make for lunch, and I have had to cut them in smaller pieces because I wasn't catching it. She was taking them off and then taking the jellied piece of bread and just like she loved the strawberry jam so much. It was just like covered. It looked like a fake. And so just like the daily things that my kids do that I'm like, gross.
Oh my goodness, that is so funny. But at least you get a good laugh, right?
Absolutely.
What animal is the most majestic?
Oh, mountain gorilla.
I
don't even know what that is.
Like a silverback.
Oh, okay.
And I went when we went to our Nebraska trip, and we went to the Omaha, Nebraska Zoo. I think that's what it was called. They had a huge like great apes area, and it was so cool. Like they would come up to like this glass, and like they would sit down and like they want your.
Oh, that's cool.
And I was like, me and my kids, like we went up to it, and then it was like pointing to it. I couldn't tell what it was doing. And then I noticed that we had like the animal crackers in my pocket, like part of the wrapper was hanging out, and the gorilla was like, I want that snack.
That's crazy. But I mean, that was really, really cool. I've seen some videos where like they come up to the window, or like if there's like a mama that's pregnant, like with the orangutan monkeys, they'll like put their hand on the window. And I was like, oh, that's really, really cool. But yeah.
Yeah, it's getting that close to an animal that is not native to the United States, and then seeing the intelligence of it, you're like, oh wow, that is, man. I thought I knew a lot, but I didn't.
Right. I think whenever animals do certain things that are like human-like, we're like taken back by it. It's like, whoa, we need to learn some more things about what's happening with evolution, or with like with the animal, you know. What would the box with all your hopes and dreams look like inside?
It would be pictures of my family. Like my goal is first and foremost, like to be a good husband and to be a good father, because I think that I work so that I can support my family. Like I could have been happy doing a lot of different things in life. Now I love being a professor, but my hopes and dreams are like to love and spend time with my family. I think that there's too many people that focus on like the job, the career. So I was so in kinesiology, I teach like sports psychology and coaching. I coached for a little bit, and then I got out of coaching because my dad was a coach and I was a coach, and I was seeing how much time I was spending away from home. And I decided that I didn't want for my kids to have to only see me for a half of the year. When football season was done and until July, I didn't want that to happen. So I really wanted to be able to show my kids with my time that they are the most important thing to me. So pictures of loved ones.
Yeah, that's really sweet. All right, so we have the last question here. Who do you think we should invite for the next El Cafecito 35 questions?
Oh, okay. There are just so many great faculty members and staff members on campus. Who was the last faculty member that y'all had?
I think it was Chuck Waddington or Christabel.
Say that one more time. I'm sorry, you cut out for a second.
We had done Coach Waddington and then Christabel.
Oh, okay. Coach Waddington, he's a great coach. I think a person that I really respect on campus would be Jesse Taylor. He is very intelligent. He's a assistant. He was also just promoted to associate professor in math, and he is also, oh my gosh, I'm trying to think about. He is the director of the Faculty Learning Commons, but he's a really smart dude, really cool dude.
Yeah, heck yeah. We'll give him a shout. We'll definitely give him an email or send an email to see if he would like to do this. Heck yeah.
Yeah. Or Or if you can't, or Dr. Lozano from psychology.
Ooh, yeah.
She's a friend that like always talking to her that I feel like I'm like, don't say something stupid, don't say something stupid, don't say something stupid, because I feel like she's so smart that I'm like I feel like, am I your token dumb friend?
Oh no.
So she would be equally as good.
Okay. Heck yeah. We'll give a shout out to those two, and yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jordan, for hopping in with us and answering our questions. You did great. Thank you, everyone else, for tuning in for this morning's edition of El Cafecito. Make sure to continue in next time. See ya.